Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Talking Town midweek show. It is Wednesday, it's Hump Day, and we are here to get you over it, of course, albeit a later time than normal, and now nearly 20 minutes later than we normally would kick off on a Wednesday. Normally it's 8:30, kicking off later for the World Cup, so it'll be a slightly different show to maybe how you're normally used to from Talking Town, just because, can't be here past 10 p.m. too much, do we? Just let's be brutally honest, and it is one of those weeks where, well, we will mention last night, but is anyone overly bothered? It doesn't appear to be. We've got Buxton on Sunday, another cup second round game. Are you overly bothered on that one? I don't know. Let me know in the live chat. But we're going to run through the 1 to 11 that we think may play on Sunday. We've got some Ashton takeaways from the interview he has obviously undertaken with the club website. I've just finished watching that literally moments ago. Papa John's thoughts, and of course sad news coming from the club today with the sad passing of Johnson, Mr. David Johnson. So we have Colin, who will give such a wonderful, and it really is worth sticking around for and listening to, a really nice words on the great man and great player. In fact, here he is, David Johnson. Rest in peace. Why are you learning Greek? Why am I learning? Yes, okay, I am learning Greek as I chuck my pen. See, look, learning Greek. It'll be a fucking plate soon enough. I'm learning Greek. I'm struggling to learn Greek. I'm struggling to learn it via my app and then not have any conversation about it. So I've started a little Instagram video diary thing where I'm going to post up what I'm learning, just so people can tell me if, well, first and foremost, is if I'm saying it right, the pronunciation is correct, if they understand it, etc., etc. So today was the first one. Go and check it out. M Lambert 89. Kel, I remember. Sorry. And to answer your question, Nick, why am I learning it? Well, why not? Greek first, then Spanish. I used to know a little bit of Spanish, so I'm hoping that's not going to be as difficult as the Greek. But yeah, why not? Further the horizons and all that. Kel, I remember in my youth days. I remember I was a member of David Johnson's fan club. Rest in peace, David Lee Brown. Evening, everyone. We move on from last night. Promotion it will be. Anthony, still good evening. Good welcome into your platform. For fans, by fans. He says good evening, TTers. We are out of the Papa John's Pizza Cup. I hope it will be the last time we ever have to participate in this tin pot competition. I saw you tweet that on your post out on your Facebook last night, Anthony. I did agree with it then, and I do agree with it now. Moby, underwhelming win, and no injury will do me against Buxton. The Stowmarket legend is in residence. No, not me. It's AD Croucher, the one and only. I was waiting. Look, let's be honest. Canada haven't been this screwed since Survivor Series 1997. Let's be fair. They've had the play, the shots, done everything but win the game. He says, not really knowing if it was the final score before he went live. There we go. Mike the Fishman. I don't know what he's talking about there, but there we go. Lots of rest in pieces for David Johnson. I've got to learn to speak English first, Gov. Nothing wrong with my English. It's your ears that need work, son. Stelios Giancopoulos to you, Gov. Thank you very much, Owen. Right, let's get things kicked off. It is, of course, Wesley Burns' birthday today. Happy birthday, Wesley. Many, many happy returns. You almost achieved GOAT status, because tomorrow is when all the best people in the world are born, because it's my birthday tomorrow. So you were so close, Wes, to just being the ultimate GOAT, but sadly you weren't born on the 24th of November. But happy birthday all the same, and it is my birthday tomorrow. And if you're watching this, I do accept super chats via cards, credit cards, cash, PayPals, all alike. I'm joking. No, I'm really fucking not. Pay up. No, I am. But yeah, no, you can become a Talking Town fifth standard today. Hit the join button. Right. I am joined by Mr. Neil Willimore this evening. Mr. Neil Willimore, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. You?
I am very well. It's also somebody else's birthday in your house, isn't it?
Yes, it's my son's 14th birthday today. So yes,
I say in your house, like Wesley Burns is living in your back room.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's downstairs. We met Wes Burns the other week when we had our out day for my youth football team. So yeah.
Did you?
Yes. We had a picture with him. The boys had a photograph with him. If you watch the Town in 5 minutes, my team are on there giving the players fist bumps as they walk in the door before the game. That's my boys. They're on the video. And we met Brett Johnson and Mark Detmer and Ashton as well.
Nice. That's very topical because obviously we're going to be talking about Ashton in a memento.
Yeah, he had a lot of time for him. He come out and he sat there and he was saying, "Where are you from? Are you any good? Blah blah blah." Brett Johnson was laughing, and when I walked out, I was starstruck because Mark Dettler was right in front of me. It's like, oh my god! And they said they were laughing. The guy showing us around. They said because I was the one who's more starstruck than the boys were, I think. But it was good. It was really good.
There you go. Look at that. It's good to have, heroes and idols and things like that at any age. You share a birthday with somebody in particular, don't you? Who do you share a birthday with, Neil?
Jack Grealish.
Jack Grealish, which, helpfully brings me on to this video which has been doing the social media rounds. I'm going to be bringing it up ever so shortly, but before I do, are you a big Grealish fan? Obviously, he scored, albeit from the bench on Monday. Do you think he'll be in the team on Friday?
No, I think he's going to be impact subs. I think they're going to go pretty much with the same sort of side as they had the other day. I don't think he'll change it. He's not much of a changer, is he, Mr. Southgate? He likes keeping things as they are, and I'm glad he played Jude Bellingham. Because I saw him against Germany. I went to Wembley and watched England-Germany, the 3-3er, and he was the best player on the pitch. Bellingham was. He was outstanding.
Yes. I'd never seen him play until Monday,
Man, he was mustard against Germany. And he was just as good. But then it's Iran, but you still got to beat them. You still have to beat them. So he looked really good.
You do. Really right. Good. Jack Grealish. Here, you've not heard this song. I have. I'm just going to let it play, and then you can give me your thoughts on it afterwards. All right? Can you hear it?
Yeah. Your rules, there was a footballer that nobody knows. Now it's the World Cup. And he scores his goal. His name was Jack Grealish. His name was Jack Grealish. And you're like, he's my bubba. Oh, he's my boo. Oh, he's my bubba. He's my boo. Come on, England.
Oh, dear.
Do you remember before the Euros there was a footballer?
God.
What are your thoughts on that one, Neil?
Oh, it's dreadful.
His name was Jack Grealish.
And he's done it. He obviously thinks it's half decent, but not for me.
It's been doing the rounds all over social media. Thank you very much, Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't got a clue what you've just said. I think I know a couple of those words.
Treat yourself to a coffee. Oh, there. Oh, right. Oh, that one isn't.
Oh, no. Oh, love it. Oh. AD Crouch at 4.49. Yeah. Thank you very much, AD. Treat yourself to a coffee. No, your choice. Thank you very much, AD. I really appreciate that. Honestly, thank you. That's very, very kind of you.
I don't know what the Greek bit was.
No, I'm going to have to bookmark that and come back to it. But that song is...
rubbish.
Polite way of putting it. Yeah, polite way of putting it, I think. Yeah, I'd love to... AD, thank you so much, by the way. I really do appreciate that. Truly, I do. Is that a song, says Matt Stannard. What, says Colin Plum? Stephen Perry found that on TikTok. It's shocking. Danny Barrow, sad day. DJ scored an incredible goal at Churchman's. Come on, you Blues, says Andy. Owen Griffiths, surprised you didn't lose some views while I was playing that, Gov. Owen, I don't know. What can you say on it? I just thought I'd play it as you were talking about Jack Grealish before we went live, Neil, because you share the birthday with him. You could almost say, Neil, it was as bad as last night. What are your thoughts on? Contrary to what the YouTube admin for Ipswich Town FC thinks, it did not finish ITFC 2 Portsmouth 0. Oh. It finished Portsmouth 0, ITFC 2. What are your thoughts on it?
I didn't go, but I had it on the radio, of course. And
you lucky man.
All I heard the whole game was us on top until a slight mistake, which Edmondson recovered and covered for. And then they still scored. But then the second goal just come from us trying to push on to get an equaliser. That was just, all guns blazing trying to get an equaliser, and they just went up the other end and scored, and that was it. But, I mean, if we'd had a fully fit squad and that, you'd be annoyed because you want to carry on in it. But at the moment, we're socks and pants draw looking for players at the moment because we're carrying a lot of injuries. And we don't know how fit Harness is now, so it's just
No.
getting proper threadbare. You know, we had a
Nothing's
big
come out
squad,
yet, has it?
and we haven't now. We haven't now.
Nothing's really come out yet about Marcus Harness. We don't know the extent of it. Sorry, I was reading Ady's Greek message. I was trying to decipher it.
No, I think he said, didn't he say up there it was?
I haven't got that far down yet. I was just reading.
Sorry.
But no, back to the. I do it. You were lucky in the sense of it was only your ears that got the damage last night. I had to watch it. It. Yeah, and it was the longest game I've ever known. To be fair, Harness being injured is the big issue, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You want to come through those games without any injuries, particularly to players like that. You mean it's just
that was my main worry is players getting injured. And when Morsey was starting, I just thought, oh God, it's written in the stars, someone's going to get injured, and it was it happened.
Although that is, if you had to pick your injuries, I guess Morsey and Humphreys coming through it unscathed is what you're looking for. Absolutely. Did anybody stand out for you? I thought Kamara actually in patches looked really quite good, and I thought overall we played. The performance wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst I've ever seen Grace Portman Road, but in patches, Kamara I thought looked really good. Anybody sort of stand out for you?
They said Humphreys as well was outstanding, and I think even McKenna said after the game, didn't he, that Humphreys was knackered, yet still managed to keep doing the yards and running and tackling back and performing. And he was outstanding against Exeter as well. So he's took his chance. Big time. Yeah. And he should be an outset to all the youngsters Ipswich have got, because everyone was saying at the start of the season we're buying all these players and that, but one of the ones to come on the most is him. And he is, as they say, one of our own. And there's others. There's the boy Chirera, isn't there? But I think there's contract problems with him, isn't there? I think
I don't. I couldn't say that for sure, because it's not a situation I know. But I know he's a promising player. They've got real sort of expectation on. Obviously, was it Sizebar came on yesterday? Had an opportunity over the bar, admittedly, but again looked good. There's almost for a period of there seemingly being nothing. There's now a little bit of the conveyor belt sort of opening up, Neil, where you've got Humphreys, Wolfie obviously leading that way. So you've got right
back as well. You got that Barger.
That's it. Yeah. So you've got quite a few young players coming through now, haven't you?
Yeah. And he played at Cambridge, didn't he? And they said he was very, very good. And you could see him getting an outing soon again, maybe even Sunday, but not sure.
Yeah. No, and we'll come to Sunday, obviously, in due course. But I'm just looking at the fixture list. You've got Fleetwood is the next league game after the cup exploits. Then you've got Posh, that's 2 games. Wickham is 3, and then obviously they start to come thick and fast, don't they, around the Christmas period? So 4 being Oxford. I think if you're Humphreys, you've probably got between sort of 6 to 9 games where you haven't got anybody sort of a Lee Evans being fit, or certainly when he returns back to the grass being fit enough to perhaps take a starting role. You've got Kamara who's still working his way back, but is he the same type of player? Can he operate in the same way? So you've really got a good opportunity here to make yourself undroppable, really.
That's the one, isn't it? Yeah. If he keeps playing like he is, it's going to be, how can you change? I suppose they'll use the thing is where he's quite young and 19. Do they really want to burden him with loads and loads of games? That's the problem you've got. But, if you're young enough, you're good enough, and that. If you're good enough, you're old enough, isn't it?
Well, this is it, obviously, and with sports science, they look after players. It seems a lot more these days, don't they? And I just think if you break the season down to quarters, 11 and a half games is your quarter mark, so you can't get a half. So 11 games, 12 games is your quarter. If you've got 7 games as a young player, you already had 2, so 9. You've got a quarter of the season here to really lay down a benchmark for future seasons, but equally to the manager, and in January when we're shopping around, that you don't need somebody.
No, that's probably took that one off the list, isn't it? is they'll get Evans will come back. They've said that, haven't they? Is that
Yeah.
they expected him back over the Christmas period. So that's one more pair of legs. You've got Kamara, who will be up to game speed by then. So that's your other one. So you're looking in other areas then, which is good for us because then we haven't got to spend, money on something we ultimately down the line we won't need. Because it's pointless spending money on something in 6 months we're not going to need. That is pointless.
Yeah, and obviously you've got the players out on loan that could come back and contribute. Whether they do, whether they don't, I don't know. They'll have certain expectations of what they wanted to see from out on loan, the pathway. But yeah, midfield is an area where you're looking quite well stocked at the moment. Kamara was not great, says Mike Fishman, for the second half. He's as good as Gibbs, says Colin Plum. Might going to sit through our back line. Edmondson. Somebody mentioned on the post-game show yesterday, the ITFC fan reaction show. He's an amber. And what I think it was Norman, and if it wasn't Norman, I apologise. But what Norman, I think, was alluding to was 22-man squad. If you had to, look at players that perhaps to bring players in, you had to leave out or move on. Is Edmondson finding his way into that category for you, Neil, or are you still some way sort of far removed from ever considering that?
I think he's behind Burgess now. I think he's behind Burgess. From what I saw Saturday against Exeter, Burgess was excellent. He was excellent. And I think, a couple of slips last night, I think there was, that I heard of. But, I don't think he's in the starting 11. I didn't think he'd be in the starting 11 against Cheltenham. I was surprised because I didn't pick him in my starting 11 and he was. So, I don't think he'll play Sunday, but then, as you said, we're going to get onto that. But
yeah, €5 from David. Thank you very much, David. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It really does help the platform. Thank you, brother. Andy Barrow, Edmondson played like he didn't want to be here, in his opinion. Obviously, that's obviously Andy's opinion. I can't fault him for the first goal as much as people will do, and it's their right to. He's a ball playing defender. He's made to go for a pass. Their player who's also a paid professional. He's also, someone who's walked in off the park and decided he's going to try and game of football. He's a paid professional. He's read it himself. He's cut it out. But he's still in his own half when he's cut it out, Neil. So...
Oh, yeah. They did defend it. They stopped it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But the guys still managed to score. I think... Who slips? I think Wolfenden slips.
Yeah.
That's what gives... That's what gives... what's his name?
Dan Scarlett.
Scarlett, the chance. He gets that 2 yards to get his shot off.
And that's a lovely finish, to be fair.
And it is a good finish in the bottom corner, but by Wolfenden slipping, that gives him the option. If he hadn't slipped, he'd have been able to stand him up and would have stopped him from getting the shot off. But by then, it was too late. He was on his backside, and it was over with.
All right. Talking of over with, we are over with the Papa Johns for another year. Hopefully, the last time my lifetime, in my son's lifetime, in his children's lifetimes, and their children's lifetimes, and their children's lifetimes, and their children's lifetimes. And if you're watching this and you're that generation I didn't mention, and when you are watching Papa John's action, I do apologise. I should have mentioned you. We forget this stuff sticks around forever, Colin says, see you at Peterborough United game, Mike. The pitch that caused their first goal was a Wolfie slip. I've been saying for weeks, Neil, they overwalked that pitch anyway. Ashton, takeaway, did some interviews, listening to him. What were 1 or 2 takeaways from yourself? I've written a couple of things down as I was listening this evening, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, the main two things were that building they bought.
The old Staples building.
Yeah, the Staples one. Because I walked past there the other week and looked at it and I thought, you can see what they're going to do. And the other thing was investment again. You can see they're going to invest again in the playing squad. And they've obviously been told what they want. I mean, there's a load of rumours going around. Half of them are a big sack of shit, to be honest. But some of them might well be true. But, they're going to reinvest again. Whether that means people are going to get moved on, I don't know. Maybe. But, there's 1 or 2 areas I think they know we still need improving. Yeah.
Obviously, the Staples. He did mention the Staples building. They looked into some sort of fan hospitality, but it couldn't be done through airflow or whatever. A number of reasons. Obviously, people probably have listened to the interview themselves, but that sort of stuck out. It's good to see that they've maybe explored that option, and maybe that's on the table, Neil. If not at this juncture, but at a future one.
I think they're going to knock it down, aren't they?
The Staples building they are, but
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is, if that was something they were looking at,
Yeah.
then that's maybe on their thinking. Because right now, you have nothing around that stadium that is a fan entertainment complex. Now, what I mean by that is the nearest bar, I think, is Curve Bar still, which is still a fair distance. You've got the fan zone, which is great, but I imagine nights like last night, for example,
you get about 10 people in there.
I'd rather, absolutely.
Cold,
and
wet.
Saturdays where it's absolutely lashing down or cold, again, you're going to reduce the number. So maybe they're looking at an outlet that will have that type of feel, attraction, the home hub, if you like. I don't know, but it's nice to hear it mentioned at the very least. Before I ask you a second one of the things that jumped out to me was the 4 or 5 Premier League clubs attendances. Sort of, if you were an investor of the football club, an owner of the football club, and you were buying the club based on, I think this club has huge potential, it has a fan base that just needs being woken up. That's a big tick. That's a big, I was right on that one, because that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's massive. Yeah. That's because they said that sleeping giant, and there's a lot of fans, which we all know there is, and to get them sort of attendances they're getting, it's crazy. It's crazy. League One, it's like you think to yourself, bloody hell, 28,000 and 27 and 26, and we're Ipswich from League One.
Yeah, absolutely.
You look at the Championship, and some of them are getting 15, 16,000. You watch it on telly, half the ground's empty. I watched Birmingham and Birmingham and Sunderland. And about 3/4 of the ground was covered over with bloody plastic. And it's like, where's the fans?
Well, I know St Andrews has got a lot of work. Well, have just started some work on the bottom tiers of a couple of the stands, if not the whole way around. But yeah, I often would look at someone like Birmingham and think, they can never fill their stadium. It's ridiculous.
Blackburn's the same. Blackburn, when they're everyone, never fill it.
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs in the Championship, and
how do they exist?
Well, this is it. This is the huge thing with football and money, isn't it? A lot of them are running like 100 whatever % over there. I'm not saying the clubs that you've mentioned are, but yeah, how do they exist is always a big question. What was another thing you sort of took away from it?
It was the investment again, that they're going to invest in the squad again in January, which I think even more so now with, I should imagine they haven't really said much more about John Jules, because they said he was having he might have to have an op on his hamstring. Okay. Now, if that's true, he'll be going back to Arsenal, because they won't. How can you keep him unless they're tied down contractually? But he's not going to be back. If he's having an op on his hamstring, he's out for 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, he might be.
It's a shame. Well. It's a shame, because he's decent. So they need a bit more firepower, I think.
Yep. Matt Stanley says, I'd buy the bus station, have a borough market style venue for food, drink, etc. All local stuff. Nice idea, that, Matt. Like that. Stephen Pace says, Fridge is better fit. Is a better fit. Mike, it's just he's being forced to play left side centre back, which we know he doesn't suit. Fair point. Colin Plum says, Mark Ashton is a very good CEO. Max Facts, good day. Hope you're well, Max. Morning, Gov. TJJ has already had the operation from what I hear. I don't think we'll see him again. I'd be surprised at the time frame Neil was just referencing there, Max. If we did, it sort of remains to be seen, if you like. But you would have thought that's a position they can look to fill with, whether that's a lone player coming in from a Premier League side, or whether that's a signing in its own right. Every time I listen to these interviews, Neil, and I think I've heard it all. Of just how badly underfunded and everything was mothballed, if you like, and cut back and kept ticking over just to be basically and just enough to keep it open, but not enough to keep it in contention of any race with anybody else.
Yeah, we owed £90 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, but no, because football clubs cost money, and it's a huge ass mortgage on a football club. Totally get the reasons, totally get the whys. It's just how far have we fallen behind in the investment?
I know, but that's only one person can answer that, isn't it? Well, none of us. There's only one guy.
Football's a very rich man's game.
Yeah.
And it's just. I'm just amazed every time I listen. We got, this is underfunded, or the electrics haven't been touched on for decades. And it isn't just the regime you're probably alluding to there. When you say decades, we're talking many multiples of decades.
Oh yeah, it's probably since we went down from the Premier League. You're
Yeah.
talking 20 years, and the problem is when we were being run badly, we didn't have a CEO. We didn't have someone who was football orientated running the club. Who's the guy we had? Who's the guy, the British Olympic guy we had?
Well, we're Clegg.
Clegg, that's the one.
Yeah,
Oh
O'Neill.
God, Lee O'Neill. Oh God, yeah, but they're not like an Ashton.
Well, they were just following orders, weren't they?
They were puppets for Evans, weren't they? That's what they were at the end of the day. They were doing his duty, and that's how it was. And unfortunately, like saying there,
but as he says, a cut of the turnstiles was a huge talking point.
Yeah,
of the presentation.
And a new bog brush in the toilets. That was it.
And that's right. And it's just every time I think, okay, I've heard it all. I know I've got a handle on how badly, the aesthetic, everything was at the football club. We hear another one, and I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah,
what else is there?
Yeah, I know. I mean?
He's sitting there and he's saying about how they've bought this brand new system for the PA, did all this, and then it's not just that was bad. It was the office further back from that, and then the underwire cables and all that. Yeah. I'm thinking,
I know.
Has it been touched since Robson was in charge? Like,
probably not.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like at times when you're listening to it. But
I know.
As they made the takeaway, I get it's a big dose of sort of dopamine hit, if you like, from Ashton. We're like, oh, this sounds great, but you also go, that should be standard.
Yeah, it should be. It's like he said, didn't he? His word he was using was painting the fourth bridge, isn't it? Where you start painting it, you paint the whole bridge, and then by the time you finished it, you have to go back again and restart painting it.
Yeah,
that's how it should be. It's such a big place that once you start upgrading everything, by the time you get to the end, you're going to have to start upgrading things again because it's out of date. And that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Heavily out of date. And even now, even though it's a lot sharper, I mean, my mum said watching on telly when she's watched us, she says the ground looks so much better when you see it on TV, you see the highlights and everything. It does look better. And when you walk in, it's so much better to how it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But even still, there's still quite a lot. There's a lot needs doing. I'm glad I'm not doing it. I'm glad I'm not doing his job. He must have a list as long as his arm. It must be massive.
I'd give it a go for a season.
Yeah. What, on his wage? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Can I get paused? We stood still while half the clubs in the country walked past us. I'm so glad those times have gone. United fans stand the same system. Paid the same. Old Trafford is now falling apart. That's the thing with football clubs. Unless you have that constant investment, and not just investment that keeps it going at a level that is the same, but constant investment that raises the bar, you end up just standing still, which is what I think has happened sort of here, really.
Yeah.
Stephen Parry, so I've just read that. After the wild and injury situation pushes promotion even further to the top of priorities. Good points. That's the Ashton interview. Buxton, Sunday. What are your thoughts on that one coming up? Are you excited? You bothered? Well, if we win, great. But if you tell me we're going to lose 2-1, I'm not that upset.
Oh no, I love
Where
the
are
FA
you?
Cup. Oh, I love the FA Cup. I know we need to win it. We need to win that game, not win the FA Cup. I'm not that stupid, but need to get through this round. You could get a good money spinner next round. You could get someone like Arsenal, someone away. That'd be a nice one. A big club away.
Why away?
You get more fans go there. Get more percentage of the ground, don't you? I'm not bothered. If we get them at home, we get them at home. But
so I prefer them at home.
Would you not want a nice little trip out to Tottenham's ground?
But I think at home you'd also get the TV cameras.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. Either or, there's pros and cons. Pros and cons for both.
Yeah. Pros and cons of absolutely. But but then you know what we're like. We'll beat Buxton and we'll get. They may not even be in it, so don't quote me on the team. That we're getting Oldham away, and it'll be for fuck's sake.
We'll get someone shit away, someone horrible miles away.
It doesn't have to be shit. It could just be a Coventry away.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be a tie that's not a tie that's
or someone from our league away.
Or Rotherham.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine anything worse?
Oh yeah.
Colin agrees with that. Tottenham Hotspurs. I've been to Tottenham Hotspur, Colin. It's a great stadium. Just go. They have many events there. Just go. We get Portsmouth, says Nick Muller. David, I'll book a table in your shop, Fisherman. Lee wants to progress, but would love a replay as it's not too far from him. Mike says so many fans praising Marcus Evans, even the relegation season, are now saying how he ruined the club, can't make it up. Kept us going, which is great credit to him.
I never praised him.
No, you never find me praising him, but
Nah.
we're still here, which is the.
But he did do one good thing, which was writing off the debt, and that was a massive help. And I'll always say that. But
yeah, absolutely.
We were running to the ground heavily, and he knew that. AD
Croucher, the change kickoff time has annoyed me. 5 p.m. just to please overseas TV. I'm going to be sat here doing the Matchday ticket, AD. So
I'm going.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm going. I messaged all my parents from my football team, and I said they're £10 or £3. Sent them a link, and I think there's about a dozen of them going now.
Oh, nice.
As well, with their parents. So it just gets them along.
That's good for the football club, isn't it? That's good. Lee says some of the Championship, see how far we really have come and want to get to. I get that thinking, but then if they rest the number of players and you don't win, are you negative on yourself? Or if you do win, is it a real reflection of where you are? If we go, oh yes, happy birthday to Mr. Dave Simpson. Happy birthday, my man. 44. Have a great day, Dave, or great evening, or I hope you had a great day. I hope you have a good evening.
Norwich at home in the cup.
Yeah, I take that. Yeah. But if we go through, I want but we've got to get through it first. Any concerns with what you saw last night?
No, the main worry is that with our squad, obviously we've got quite a few big injuries now, and Harness won't be available. Ladapo supposedly got injured in the warm-up before the game, which is why he didn't start.
Oh, okay.
Davis was carrying a knock. I think that's why Lee started, which I think ideally they wouldn't have started Lee, because you got to think about it. He hasn't played, has he, for absolutely weeks. And
I thought he did okay, though.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a great player. When I've seen him come on, he's just an animal. You ain't going to run into him. Him and Davis down the left. Well,
necessarily say great player.
He's a good
player.
He's a good player. Oh, for us, he's a great player. For us,
yeah, maybe.
I like him. I think he's good.
Should have scored though, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have scored early, but then he hasn't played for weeks, so I'm going to cut him a bit of slack on that one. So
that's no excuse.
But I'm worried. We're a bit threadbare, but we don't really want to risk too many injuries. But then we don't want to take it too bloody easy, because that's when you get your fingers burnt.
It is. This is it. Where do you go? So I think we're going to probably agree with Hladky in goal.
No, see, I think Walton will play.
Do you? Why?
Yeah, he hasn't played, has he? He won't have played for a couple of games, so I think he'll play him.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go with Hladky. I think he'll play Hladky, but you're going to go with Warren. That's fine. Yep. All right. Back four then. Is it the same back four that started last night? Is it Greg Lee left back?
If Davis isn't fit, I think Lee will start. Well, Lee's been out for a long while, so I think if Davis is fit, he'll start.
Would you? If he even if he was fit, knowing how he went off last time, I don't think he will be fit, by the way. But even if he is, and knowing how he went off last week, would you risk it, or would you?
It depends on Lee, doesn't it? Because he hasn't played for so long.
Got KV White can play there though.
Yeah, he could play there, I suppose, couldn't he? Yeah.
Or is KV White playing your right side?
I was going to have him on the right side, but yeah, he could play on the left.
All right.
Let's go. Go on, carry on. No, that's fine. No, I would say if Lee's fine on his figures because he hasn't played, then he'll be playing left side.
Centre halves, is it going to be Edmondson and Keogh?
No, I think Burgess will start.
Okay.
And I don't think Keogh will start. I think it'll be Burgess and I can't remember who I put now. I think I put Edmondson in on the right side.
Okay, Edmondson. Fair enough. Right. Midfield, Humphreys and Morsey, or are you resting those two?
Humphreys depends because he's played a lot of minutes, hasn't he?
He has.
And he's quite young, and we haven't got a lot of cover. So he might rest him. Humphreys might not start.
But Morsey will.
I think Morsey might start.
All right. So have you got Morsey in there? Who's playing with Morsey? I
had Kamara in there.
Kamara. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Like that. All right. And then ahead of him, you've got who?
Chaplin.
Okay. Yeah.
and Edwards.
Yeah, like that. Obviously, he was suspended for
Yeah.
last night.
I see a lot of things on Twitter last night. Everyone's saying, "Why isn't Edwards starting?" And I nearly replied to saying he's fucking suspended for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it. It's like everyone was asking. It's like, no, he's suspended. We
Yeah.
know.
Cambridge. Shocking.
Yeah.
So Edwards, Chaplin, and who's the other one? Is it
Burns, I think. Yeah, I think Burns will start.
And then up the front?
Depends on Ladapo, doesn't it? You've got Ladapo or Jackson. That's it.
Yeah. No, you got Hadme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had me, Mark. Yeah.
I think he'll play Hadme.
You think he'll start? I mean, I thought he'd be on the bench and then come on. If Ladapo's fit, he'll play 45 to an hour and Hadme will get 30 minutes. But if they're worried about Ladapo, then Hadme will start.
Even if obviously I don't know the situation with Ladapo. If it was an injury last night, I wouldn't play him at all Sunday. It'd be in Cotton Wool. It'd be Jackson and Hadme. Jackson starts, Hadme off the bench. Hadme starts, Jackson off the bench. Ladapo can sit in the stands and watch, or sit at home and watch ESPN Plus.
Yeah, tight calf. They said. I think I read.
Yeah,
had a tight calf in the warm up. So what are we now?
So then why risk it? Because you've got a game on Friday after the Sunday. It just it's not worth long term risk reward. You're not going to win the FA Cup, are you?
And to be honest, Buxton is 7th tier, so I don't like blowing smoke up our arse, but if we can't beat them at home,
should be able to.
Yeah,
absolutely should be
with
able
whatever
to.
side.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick mention, awaydaybeers.com, the Away Day Beer Company. The Josh, who's an Ipswich Town fan, combined the love of beers with the love of the beautiful game. UK brewed beers enjoyed by fans and legends of the game, finished with a touch of footy nostalgia. Pick your perfect lineup today. This is the lineup. It is a beautiful lineup. I'm sure you'll absolutely agree. You've got the Golden Goal, Hobby Robson, the Beat, Fighting Like Beavers, Boncho, Bonza, Forza Paula, Butcher's Bandits, Brazil's Best, Shamaikau, Wayne Bruni, Bundesliga, which is a very good one, by the way. Bundesliga, it's a very nice 4.6 German-style lager. We won't mention the German result today. Liquid Football, Robo Crouch. Look, lots to choose from. Head to the shop tab, get involved, create your fantasy pack. 6-pack, let's do it. It's Christmas, $16.99. Bish, bash, bosh. Nice and easy. Links in the chat, awaydaybeers.com. Support the local town fan as we lead up to Christmas. Get your beers in and have a great time. Benjamin Michael, dare I get the bingo balls out again? Yeah, well, you might have to, Ben. Stephen, the injury bingo balls. We have got Stephen Pace. I just had a message come through. Who's messaging me at this time or not? Stephen Parry. So we do the same thing as we do at Bracknell. Remember, we lost the following league match. I'd go strong, get minutes in players. I'd rest. I would rest my first 11, but I understand that's why I'm sat here, not in a dugout. Arthur Wilding, Mike Fisherman, Kieran's never put a town shot on again after last night, according to Mike. Fair enough. All right. Before we come to wonderful words of Colin Plum, score prediction then for the weekend, please, Mr. Willimore.
4-0.
Goal scorers?
It depends who bloody starts.
Come on.
Hadme might get his first goal. Kamara's always got a goal in him, I think. I'm going to go Burns with 1. Hadme, Edwards and Chaplin. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Love that. Neil, a slightly shorter show, obviously, because of the World Cup, because of the week it is with the Papa Johns and then with Buxton. But thank you very much for being with me this evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. 8-0 says Nick Muller. 2-0 says The Fisherman. Love that. Keep your scores coming in. Don't forget awaydaybeers.com. Become a Talking Town Fistland today by hitting the join button on YouTube. Stephen Parry says FA is second choice. The PJ Cup is 4th. I'd expect. The good doctor says 3-0. Stephen says 2-0. And Lee begging for that replay says 1-1. Right. I'm going to leave you with the thoughts of one Colin Plum following the sad and tragic news of David Johnson's passing. Over to you, Colin.
Very, very sad day again, because obviously the days and the months and the years have gone by over these last months and years, this is becoming, sadly, quite a regular event. And my memories of David, obviously, I was born in '57. He came to Ipswich Town Football Club in 1972. I'd have been 15 when he came, and he played up front with the great Trevor Weimar, and they were a formidable partnership, those two. And he came from Everton in a swap deal for Rod Belfort, I remember, and like I say, he came down from Everton, and he played for Ipswich from 1972 to 1976, and he played 136 times for the town, scoring 35 goals. But he was a kind of centre forward that, he'd never give up at all. He was a grafter. He was a good finisher. Won his first England caps while he was at Town, and I was lucky enough to go to the Texaco Cup finals in 1973, of which David obviously participated in, and we beat Norwich 4-2 on aggregate. David didn't score in those two legs, but played a big part in the building of Ipswich Town Football Club under Bobby. And in the 4 years he was at the club, we qualified for Europe in 73, 74, 74, 75, 75, 76. And I always remember one game I went to with my dad. We beat Bruges 3-0 at home, and me and Dad said we'll go over on the ferry. So we went on the ferry and we lost Plymouth 4-0 in the second leg. But that was another memory. But another great memory, or another two great memories, were FA Cup memories of David. And it was in 75 when we got to the semi-final, where we got robbed against West Ham in that replay. But in the earlier round, we played Villa, and I'll never forget that game. And I know if Brian Hamilton watches this tonight or whenever, he certainly will never forget it. He was sub that day, Brian Hamilton was. And we was 2-0 down to Villa. And Brian Hamilton come on. But anyway, David Johnson scored the first goal to make it 2-1. Bearing in mind we was 2-0 down at half-time. And made it 2-1. And then Brian Hamilton come on and scored 2 goals, and we finally won that FA Cup tie 3-2. And that was the year when we went on to play those 4 games against Leeds United. And I've spoken about that first replay before. I went through all 4 games. In the first replay at Allen Road, John he put us 1-0 up there in front of 50-odd thousand at Allen Road that night, over 50,000. And Duncan McKenzie equalised in the last minute. And we finally, after four games, we finally finished up winning 3-2 with a great winner from Clive Woods. But John, he was involved in that 75 Cup run, and we was cruelly robbed at Stamford Bridge in the semi-final replay by Mr. Clive Thomas, who we won't talk about that. But David then, like I say, he stayed till 1976. But in 1975 again, David got called up for one of his first England games. And I remember David, Colin Veal, John, and Kevin Beattie were all in that side playing at Wembley. And we got tickets, me and Dad, and we went down. It's the only England-Scotland game I've ever seen. And we won 5-1. Funnily enough, John, he scored, and as did Kevin Beattie. We won 5-1, and Alan Ball was captain that day. I remember it was his last ever game for England, and Johnson was up front with Mick Channon and Kevin Keegan, and it was a great side. You had people like Colin Todd in the side, Ray Clements in goal, Big Dave Watson at the back, and Kenny Dalglish and people like that, and Gordon McQueen and whatever. Danny McGrain were in the side for Scotland, but that was a great win. So anyway, Johnson scored in that game, so that was fantastic. He only played 8 times for England, but he scored 6 goals. He only got 3 of his caps whilst at Town, 5 caps whilst he was at Liverpool. But like I say, then in 1976 he departed, and everybody, including myself, was a little bit sad about that. But obviously he went to Liverpool, replacing the great John Toshak, I remember, and played up there with like Dalglish and Keegan and one or two others, Dalglish and whatever. And he did marvellously well at Liverpool. He was a very good player, but obviously 76 we brought in Paul Mariner. So David went on to have a fantastic career with Liverpool, and obviously Paul came in and had a fantastic from Plymouth and had a fantastic career with Ipswich. So everybody was happy. He went to Liverpool, and David was very, very, very successful at Liverpool, bless him. And I mean, you've got to remember, Ipswich and Liverpool were big, massive rivals at that time for the title for a long time, for about an 8, 9, 10 year period. And David came back with Liverpool several times, playing up front with Dalglish or whatever, and he never, I can never remember him ever getting booed. You know, everybody loved Johnny. He had a boutique in Ipswich, I remember, back in the day. He opened a boutique, and but he was well liked, very well liked. But like I say, he went to Liverpool. He made 213 appearances for Liverpool, scoring 78 goals. And like I say, he was very successful there. He won four league titles. He won 2 European Cups. He won a League Cup. And he won a UEFA Super Cup. And like I say, he was there for quite a long while. And after Liverpool, his career obviously was nearly like coming to like this fruition kind of thing. And he went to, I looked up today, he went to Barnsley on loan, and then he went to Man City and he played 6 games. And he went out and played in America for a little while. Came back and played for Preston just for a little while, played 24 games, 3 goals for Preston. And then he finished up by managing Barrow for 1 season. And after that, he went on the corporate side. When he retired, he went on the corporate side at Anfield, doing, I suppose, a job like Brian Hamilton and Millsy and people like that, and Simon Milton and people like that have done at Ipswich, you know. And he worked on the corporate side at Liverpool, and that was really obviously the last I knew of David. You know, I saw him once or twice on the TV speaking, you know, and he was always a jolly kind of person. And I remember the goals he used to score, and him and Trevor Weimar, like Trevor with Paul. I mean, we was blessed, you know. Us Ipswich Town supporters were absolutely blessed. We had those 2 partnerships. I mean, obviously you had, back in the day, you had Crawford and Phillips. And you had, like, when we went up, you had Ray Crawford and John O'Rourke, which obviously I remember when we won the 2nd Division title. And then, we had the likes of Frank Clark come in and Roddy Belfort. But then when we had the Johnson Weimar and then the Weimar Mariner, they were two of the best strike partnerships I think our club, apart from obviously Phillips and Crawford, that this club has ever had. And you know, quite rightly, he won England caps. He only won 8, but he was a tremendous stalwart, tremendous person within our football club, and it's a very sad day, and my thoughts, my condolences are to obviously all his family and all his friends, and that's obviously, you know, he's obviously probably still got a lot of friends in Ipswich, I would imagine, and he's obviously got a hell of a lot more friends, I would presume, on Merseyside. And my heart goes out to you all. He was a good man, David. You gave us great service. You led us into Europe. You really did. You was the instigator, if you like, of our great success. And I love you for it. God bless you.